Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're looking at someone the world completely underestimated for decades. But right now, he is quietly executing one of the absolute most ambitious institutional transformations in modern history. We are, of course, talking about King Charles III. We're going to unpack how a literal lifetime of waiting has somehow translated into this surprisingly aggressive blueprint for changing the British monarchy.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Behind palace doors, there's this deliberate, completely unexpected shift taking place. As our source material beautifully puts it, there is something quietly extraordinary happening. And the crazy part, most people are just not paying close enough attention to notice. It's this massive transformation hiding in plain sight, totally engineered by a monarch who is moving with some serious purpose. Now, for decades, the popular narrative got it entirely wrong. The press, the public, they mostly mocked him as just this eccentric heir, right? Totally out of touch with the modern world. But the reality is, he didn't arrive at the throne empty-handed, not at all. He spent that half-century rigorously preparing for this exact moment. I mean, that is 50 years of championing causes, building massive organizations from the ground up, and really having his convictions severely tested in the public eye.
Section 1. The 50-year apprenticeship. A lifetime of waiting. Think about it. Charles waited longer than any heir in British history to actually wear the crown. 50 years. 50 years in the waiting room of power. But, he didn't just sit around idly waiting for his turn. He actually used those 5 decades to test his ideas, formulate a worldview, and perfectly prepare for exactly what kind of leadership he wanted to execute once he finally got the authority. And our source material really highlights how far ahead of the curve his advocacy was. I mean, decades before climate change was your standard political talking point, he was out there sounding the alarm. He was practicing organic farming and building sustainable systems from scratch way before it was fashionable. He was even issuing urgent warnings about brutalist concrete structures destroying historic skylines, all while the establishment just kind of rolled their eyes at him. What's truly fascinating here, though, is the 30-year time gap. The world largely dismissed his ideas as just the quirks of a privileged prince, only to spend the next 3 decades slowly, and I mean slowly, arriving at the exact same conclusions. He really wasn't out of touch at all. Actually, scratch that. He was out of touch. He was just 30 years early. So this history absolutely matters. It's essential context because it proves he isn't just some passive figurehead. He's not sitting around waiting to be handed a script or told what to think by his advisors. He is literally a guy who has always known exactly what he thinks. He spent a lifetime waiting for the ultimate authority to finally act on those deeply entrenched beliefs. Section 2. Shrinking the firm. A focused working core. So let's look at his immediate action plan. He is actively shrinking the monarchy down to a highly focused working core. What does that mean? Well, it means aggressively cutting away the sprawling extended family structure that had honestly become a major financial burden and, let's face it, a recurring reputational liability over the years. And alongside the streamlining, he is openly and aggressively pushing for far greater transparency in royal finances. He's making a really bold, uncompromising case here. Basically, the monarchy must earn its keep. He is totally refusing to do what's been done in the past. Instead of hiding behind traditional institutional silence whenever the public asks about the cost of the royal family, he's addressing it head-on. He firmly believes the institution absolutely needs to be accountable and transparent to survive today. Section 3. The Environmental King. A lifetime of advocacy. Remember those 50 years of environmental advocacy we were just talking about? Well, now he's actively leveraging the unique, massive weight of royal authority to advance that exact agenda. The environmental focus that completely defined his public life as a prince, it's now the absolute cornerstone of his soft power as king. He's using this huge new platform to amplify the causes he spent a lifetime studying. And he's pulling this off by actively bringing together world leaders and uniting top business figures in ways that carry some serious gravity. He's utilizing his convening power in a way no recent British monarch has done quite so explicitly. I mean, when the King of England calls a meeting on the environment, the biggest players in the world show up. He's using that dynamic to its absolute fullest effect, turning soft power into real-world global action. Section 4. A new royal standard. Survival via service. So in the past, the standard was pretty simple. The monarchy has always existed, and therefore, it should just naturally continue to exist based on tradition alone. But the present standard under Charles is entirely different. He is actively demanding that the institution justify itself through genuine, measurable service. It's a much more demanding and honestly, a way more honest standard to set for such an ancient institution. And as our source material points out, he hasn't set this out of mere political convenience or some kind of PR spin. Not at all. He said it because he genuinely believes it is the absolute only standard worth holding the institution to if it has any hope of enduring in the modern age. And we really can't ignore the incredibly difficult context surrounding all of this. He's pushing this transformation forward despite massive personal and public hurdles. A sudden battle with cancer, navigating a deeply fractured family, and facing a modern public that is vastly more skeptical of inherited privilege than ever before. Honestly, any one of these things would paralyze a normal leader, but he just keeps pushing on. So through all of these incredible compounding challenges, what's actually kept him moving forward? Well, it's exactly what the source calls his most underrated quality, his quiet, stubborn determination. That determination has been the quiet engine behind his survival for decades, and it's the exact same engine driving his strategy right now. So we circle back to exactly where we started this explainer. The man the world spent decades completely underestimating, treating as a literal punchline, is now actively reshaping one of the oldest, most entrenched institutions on Earth. And perhaps the most surprising takeaway of the whole shebang is that despite his age and despite all the hurdles, he is only just getting started. Which leaves us with this crucial, really provocative question to ponder as we watch this historic transformation unfold in real time right in front of us. Can genuine service truly save an institution fundamentally built on inherited privilege? It's a fascinating paradox, right? And it's one we're all watching him try to solve. Think about that as you watch his reign continue to unfold. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope it brought some clarity to the headlines, and I'll catch you on the next one.